you are very interested in UFOs and like space people. I hope it's all okay that I call them space people.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine. I mean,
Okay.
traditionally we say like aliens, but
Yeah.
alien it means something or someone that is just radically different. But I guess I just say space people because they may be very similar to us, or they may be different, but inside, like in their mind, they may have, emotions and family and friends, and their lives may be very comparable to us. So
Yeah. Okay. And the reason you are this interested in UFOs and aliens, that's because of your experience you had.
yeah, like actually, let me go into a little bit more detail about how this sort of happened. From a very young age, I was thinking about this kind of stuff. I mean, or not just thinking, but like it was influencing me in some way. It was, there was some experience of that in my dreams, actually. Like when I was very young and when we lived in New Zealand and Dannevirke, I remember going to sleep at night when I was about year 5, 6, probably between 5 and 10 years old. I would go to sleep and all of a sudden I would be sitting in my sandbox. I think in Denmark kids also have this sandbox in the backyard. And yeah, I'd just go to sleep and then all of a sudden, I'm sitting there in my sandbox outside and my toys are there on the sandbox. And it would be a similar dream or experience would happen almost every night. The toys would then start floating up towards the sky, and one at a time the toys would float up, and then I would quickly grab a hold of one of the toys, and then I would be floated up into the sky with it. And then I would just have this very amazing journey throughout space. And I never seem to remember, what would happen out there in space, but I just remember the toys would start floating up. I would jump on one of the toys and then I would float up out into space and have some sort of amazing journey, and then I would wake up the next morning and go about my life as usual as a young boy. And also one time I remember I had a dream that a spaceship, a UFO, a flying saucer, landed in my backyard, and a spaceman, he came out and talked to me. I'm not sure what we spoke about, but he talked to me, and those dreams, or maybe they were OBEs, like out of body experience, astral projections, something like that, where my soul, I went outside and traveled. Maybe I'm not saying that's necessarily it, but I'm just saying what it felt like. That's what it felt like. But later in life, when I was a teenager, when I was about 13, between 13 and 15, I started writing stories. I wrote stories about how I was part of this secret space program, and that every night someone would come and get me and take me on this secret space anti-gravity spaceship, and then we would fly around, and then they would take me back, and then I would wake up the next day. And I wrote a whole story about that. It's probably in my parents' house in my old notes in my box of my stuff somewhere. And then later in life, when I was in high school, I was one of the very, how to say this, like ADHD kids, like very hypo, and well, not necessarily hypo all the time, but I had a difficulty in focusing and learning. So what happens is in New Zealand we have these support teachers. They call them support teachers, who they sit next to the kids that can't focus, and they just try to encourage them to do their work, So I had one of these teachers sit next to me in one of my classes, a few of my classes actually, and it just turned out that this guy that sat next to me, he also had similar experiences, and he told me stuff like he was with his wife and they saw a UFO. Well, actually he described it as an orb, of a giant ball of, well, a metallic disc, a metallic UFO, very big, probably like 50 feet in diameter or something like that, but at a distance. I mean, he saw these at a distance, and it happened a few times, and there was a glow around it. And one time he said one of them, it lost power above a mountain, and it's the energy around it started to fade, and then another one came, and he said it looked like it powered it up, like it transferred more energy to it, and then when they both had enough energy, they flew off again. And he told me all this stuff, like the USA, they have this technology, it's top secret, and they already have bases on the moon and on Mars and all this stuff. And he was telling me this when I was 13, and I was just like, whoa. And in a way I kind of regret it, because had I not been distracted by that guy, I probably would have been able to focus better in school. Because you see, the problem is I already had a very deep interest in that, so he really stimulated my interest even more, and then after that I became just a little bit obsessed with this whole subject. So
okay, so it was a helping teacher that told you about this.
Yeah, when I was 13.
He told you that there was a moon base or something like that and stuff.
Yeah, I can't remember.
What did you say?
I can't remember the exact details, but yes, he was saying that there was a secret space program that had been in operation for quite some time.
Okay, but how would he be able to know that? He's just a Dane.
Yeah, exactly right. Well, this was in New Zealand. Well, he's
sorry. He's just
a Kiwi.
Misinterpret me. He's just an Aussie.
A Kiwi.
Kiwi. Sorry.
Yeah. No problem. It's so many confusing Kiwi, Aussie. But I guess. I mean, I have no idea, and I guess I had no real reason to trust him, but he just seemed like, it didn't seem like he was lying. Or maybe it was a combination of the fact that it didn't seem that he was lying, and secondly, I wanted to believe it because of these experiences, these dreams, these astral projections, these OBEs that I'd had. It explained in a way you know,
Yeah, sure.
what had happened to me. So yeah, I guess that's why I'm doing this. You know, that's why I'm kind of working on this channel to see if there's anyone out there. You know, is there anyone out there that's listening that maybe has some sort of experience that might be able to offer me, you know, more help to give more answers.
Yeah, I'm not telling you that you should stop that search and journey, because you should do what you want, and I have no idea what I want, but it changes from time to time and from day to day. But I'm thinking I'm very biased because I come from the Christian thing. So like, if it's like my understanding would be, if I had the same interest as you in UFOs and aliens, that it that somehow in a way it would be Satan and it would be demons trying to waste my time.
Wow.
In a way.
Yeah.
And do everything they could to make me focus on everything else than God. So as long as I focus on anything that's not about God, then it's fine. But the problem is, when I focus on God, they don't like that, or that was my belief in the past.
Yeah.
But it's a very kind of like strange and crazy thought that me as a human, that I should be that important, that because it's like the whole universe revolves around me in a way, when I think it this way. So it is kind of crazy in a way.
Yeah.
And that's probably like many. I believe that's why many religions are so popular, because they have a us and them mentality. So it's like, when you're inside the church, or when you're inside, then you are not alone. Then you are a part of something, and there is this us and them on the outside mentality. And a lot of clubs and societies, I think, and religions have this kind of thinking. So that's why my thought would be, if it was me, that it would be a waste of time if I pursued that in a way.
Yeah.
So, but also I'm open to the possibility that God, if God exists, or if gods exist, might not be my Christian understanding from the Bible. Like, God might be energy, and I've got this female friend, and her grandmother, they are not witches, but they kind of, maybe, but they believe in something that's called alternate philosophy, something like that. And they believe that we are here on Earth to learn, basically. And they, in a way, they believe in reincarnation, that once we die, we will become born again in another body, and we are here to learn. So in the next life, if we haven't reached nirvana, or if we haven't learned everything and corrected everything we need to, then we will get a second chance, and a second chance, and a second chance. So they don't focus about UFOs or aliens at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure that if you and I sat down with them sometime and had a discussion about this, they would probably have a theory. And maybe I just haven't asked them this question, and they might have an answer.
Yeah.
That would surprise me and you. But it I'm not sure, but I think it could be that they are energy or linked to energy somehow.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure because I haven't asked them this question. But they look at like what you need to change in your life. Like they would take your date of birth, and then they would say, okay, your karma, like numbers, ciphers are this and this and this. So you are like I was born in the 13th of November in 84. So they would write this down, and then they would write some numbers beneath, and then they would say, okay, this and this and this, okay, this. Okay, so your karma signs are 11 and 4, perhaps. It's just an example. And then they would say, your karma number or cipher is this one. So you need to focus on this. And you would be a good leader, or you would be, this could be a future. This is just an example, but they have they believe in this and do this. So it's just to say that, yeah, it's very different what people believe and think and stuff.
Yeah.
Her grandmother had this healing experience in a way. It's like she has been this kind of mentor in a way. She never received any payment at all. She refused to take payment for this. And she has this strict policy that she would never go and seek people out in the street or anywhere else to offer them healing or to pray for them or anything. But there was this boy in the family, and he had these blisters, I believe, or warts or something like that on his fingers, along his nails, and it was pretty bad, if I understand it correctly. And the grandmother didn't come to him and offer him to pray for him, but like they came to her, and that's important for the grandmother, that it's in this, things are going correctly in that way. But she ended up praying for him, and it was like the doctor had said prior to this that he already received the treatment that he got, and they couldn't do anything to get them to get rid of them. At least that was what she said. And then she prayed for him or something like this, and then the next day it was all gone.
Wow.
So she believes in energy in a way, but also in karma and stuff. And she could tell a lot of stories, probably not about this, but about this alternative philosophy that she knows about and stuff. And she has been coaching people for free. And she's quite interesting to talk to, I think. But it is Bible based in a way. She believes in Jesus, she believes in God, but in another way than I believe in or believed in God. Yeah.
It sounds very interesting, actually. I mean, it does sound very alchemy related, perhaps natural philosophy related. I mean, we have very strong alchemy and natural philosophy traditions in Europe that I mean, they're almost lost, but yeah, I know some people, they still continue these traditions.
Okay, I don't know anything about it really. But you say alchemy?
Yeah, alchemy. Alchemy is, well, al, it means art, and chemi, it means Egypt. So alchemy it means the art of Egypt. But I guess a more on-point definition of alchemy is, you can say it's the study of the relationship between mind or spirit and matter. So between the spiritual and the physical. It is a study of the relationship between the two, and also the study of how one property can transform into another property, or how one quality can transform into another quality, or you can say how one element can transform into another element. Like in nature we have these 5 elements, like earth, water, wind, metal, wood, and there is a cycle. You can say like the water gives birth to wood, and wood gives birth to fire, and fire gives birth to soil, and soil of course gives birth to wood, and then the cycle continues. Something like that. And then they will attribute different elements to different qualities in life or in someone's personality, and then like this they will find some system or some way to help us to change ourselves for the better, basically. I don't know, I'm just saying it might be related. They might have some idea about that.
Yeah, it sounds like you know a lot about it, but you say that you can recognize what I said about changing yourself, improving yourself in a way, like my friend and her grandmother said, perhaps.
Yeah, it sounds very related. You were saying that there was some numerology involved as well.
I believe so. Yeah.
To do with the numbers. There's different ways that we can use numbers. Like one way is just a very a materialist way, and that is just straight mathematics, like 1 + 1 = 2. Numerology, on the other hand, is different. It's kind of like each number has its own personality or its own quality. So they're using the numbers in a very different way. It's not just like 1 + 1 = 2. I think if we talk to them about it, they would probably know about that.
Yeah. Okay.
But yes, there are very actually quite ancient traditions in Europe. Some of them date back to these. You can say this alchemy, which it came originally from Egypt and probably from other places as well. But the ancient Greeks, there was a lot of exchange between Egypt and Greece, and so a lot of the Egyptian gods, the Greeks, they made their own gods, or not necessarily gods, but I guess you can say idols, or different deities maybe. They continued the tradition, and this is how a lot of the rich people were educated, and in those ancient days they were taught this natural philosophy and this way of thinking to understand nature. And actually a lot of famous scientists like Nikola Tesla, James Clerk Maxwell, Isaac Newton, these people were educated actually in natural philosophy and in alchemy. The reason we are not educated in the natural philosophy anymore is because at the turn of the 19th century they decided to throw away this idea of the energy, basically, or you can say the ether, or I think in Danish they called it aton, ether. It's this idea that I know you don't like science, but like in order to hear the words that I'm saying now, the sound has to travel through the speakers, and it has to travel through a medium to get to your ears, and that medium is the ear. Well, when you look at something, when you look at a screen, the light, it also has to travel through a medium, but the light is not traveling through the ear, it's traveling through some other medium, and up until the 19th century, that medium was known as the ether. And it was, well, in Greek, they call it the aoristos dias, which is the, basically it possesses the attribute of the absolute. So it is basically an indefinite, an absolute substance that is infinitely fine. And they dismissed this idea in the 19th century because they did this famous experiment with some lasers. They say, well, if there is this ether, we must be able to detect it. And this experiment was called Michelson-Morley experiment, and then they decided that they could not detect it. And then after that, they basically replaced natural philosophy with mathematics, and so that's why today, they don't teach us natural philosophy or alchemy anymore.
How come they don't do that, you say?
Well, because they feel that there is no need for this ether anymore, and because we now have like particle science. It's a little bit technical, but essentially, the alchemists, they believed that there is a relationship between our consciousness and between matter, and that this ether is, you can say, it's like the middleman. It's like we have in Christianity, there's a Holy Trinity, like the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. And so the ether is kind of like the Holy Ghost in some way. It's like the intermediary between heaven and earth. So I guess you can say the ether and this alchemy is very much based on Christianity, or I don't know how you feel about it, but I guess some people might argue that Christianity was very much influenced by alchemy, by natural philosophy.
Okay, I have no idea.
Yeah,
it depends when it came about in time and stuff like that.
Yeah. I guess there was a lot of perhaps different kinds of art and tradition that were around at the time that may have had some influence on each other.
Okay, but you're talking about natural philosophy. I was talking about alternate philosophy.
Alternative philosophy.
Yeah, where did you know that I spoke about alternate philosophy?
Yeah, I'm guessing. I mean, it's just a guess, but it may be the same. It may just be that it has a different name, especially nowadays, because it's very rare that you even hear the word natural philosophy. Normally, if you have some other philosophy that is not related to what we would normally think of as philosophy, it may just be that they decided to call it, as you mentioned, alternative philosophy. But essentially, it's the idea that philosophy is a very crucial component, is very important to our understanding of the universe, because material and mathematics is really has no meaning without philosophy.
Okay, I don't know. If you say so.
Yeah, well, don't take my word for it. I mean, it would be very great to meet these people and have a discussion about it.
Okay, perhaps we can. Yeah.
Yeah, perhaps that can be another episode, or depends what they decide. Yeah. Anyway, I probably better call.
I was just writing something down so I can remember it. So if I don't talk all the time, it's because I'm writing something down.
No worries.
Also, I have a push to talk button, so that's why.
Yeah, it's good to keep notes. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I say something?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So, you're very interested in aliens and UFOs, but could it be that you would also like an encounter with God, if that was possible?
With God, I guess that's it's kind of too big, I guess.
How?
Well, I guess my understanding of the universe is that it is just so vast that I guess God for me is more of a, well, yeah, I guess I may be sounding biased, but it's just from my point of view of the vastness of the universe. Like if I would think of just a how can I say a definite or a defined, if I would try to define God, it would almost be like putting a limit on the universe, or putting a limit on God. And I guess I personally feel more comfortable with the idea that God is really infinite. And if he would take one form, I mean, if there was a way for me to meet God, I mean, because I am a limited human being, and if I could meet, have a encounter with God, that would almost mean that God would have to be limited. And I guess in my belief, or what feels comfortable for me, is that God should be infinite. So it would be, if God is infinite, then I don't see how I can have a direct encounter with God.
Okay, but why shouldn't you be able to do that? If he's omnipotent and if he's all powerful, then he can probably easily uphold the universe. I mean, it's probably not like that he. Well, my understanding or theory is that he don't have to focus a lot of power in order to uphold the universe. If the Bible is true and he creates things it's like you create things with words by what you say. So it's also like you can create things with your words right now, words of power. So like if you speak ill of people, you can create something. Or if you speak positive of people, maybe you can also influence things in the spiritual realm just by speaking. So it's like if God said, when God created the earth, if that's true, when he said, "Let there be light," and then there was light. So maybe God created the universe just by saying, "Let there be this and this and this," and he has done that for a long time. And maybe 1 year or 1 week or 1 day for him is like 1 1 million years, that's one day for him. If it's a him or a she or him or what's it called.
Yeah.
So if he's all powerful and he doesn't need to do a lot to uphold the universe, he could easily focus on you. And if he's omnipotent, then he can focus on every human being all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess I know where you're coming from, because I've been to church, and yeah, this is the perspective that I've heard, I guess, or well, I mean your perspective is a little bit more detailed. I will say is much more detailed. But yeah, I guess I'm not sure I feel at ease with meeting God. Yeah, I guess it just feels too big. I mean, if I could start with an ET, with an alien, I guess it would be my preference. But having said that, I can't say I would say no. Like, if I had the undeniable opportunity to meet God, I would probably accept it. I can't say whether or not I would accept it, but I would definitely consider. I can say that much.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny though, don't you think? It's I guess we both have our own sort of bias, or maybe it's just a preference. I guess your preference is that. Well, I guess I should ask you. I mean, is your preference to meet God before meeting ETs, or?
Well, ETs are not important to me.
Okay.
To me, there might be demons or something like that, so there would be lesser beings no matter what.
Okay.
Or angels, maybe. So it's like, for me, I would rather go to the source.
Right.
So, have you watched the movie Narnia?
Narnia.
The witch and the wardrobe and the children lose country when they go through the wardrobe.
I've seen the trailer and it looks really amazing. Just watching the trailer just blew my mind. But no, I haven't actually seen the movie. But I guess you can suggest it to me.
There's this lion in it, and the lion can represent God or Jesus.
Wow.
And there's a kingdom. So some Christians believe that when you become a Christian or believe in God, you become a child of God. So you can inherit the kingdom of God in a way. So God is the king, your father, and so it's like if you are a girl or a woman, then you are a princess. If you are a boy or a man, then you are a prince. So these people believe that when you die, if you believe in Jesus and stuff, and you are a true believer, true follower, you have done what Jesus said and stuff and blah blah blah, then it's like in the movie Narnia, in a way. You become a prince, you become a princess, and your God is all big and powerful, and holy. But because you are made holy in a way, you're justified through Jesus, then you can be a prince in the kingdom, and it can be pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah. Well, I guess I'll have to watch the movie to fully understand what it is.
Yeah, but you don't have to. It was just to tell you about this kind of kingdom, about princes and princesses and stuff.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, Michael, it's been really interesting. Having this chat with you today to I guess to get a perspective, to hear your perspective, and to hear your your interpretation of my experience, and it's given me a bit to think about. Like it is. Yeah, I guess when you confront me with that opportunity to meet God, it's I'm not sure. It seems like such a big thing. I don't know. It could just be because maybe I'm a little bit ignorant, or maybe I'm a little bit scared from it, and I just want to take a step back and just meet aliens, or I don't know. Maybe it is because I've had a legitimate experience. Maybe those dreams I had as a child, and the other experiences. It may have some significance.
Yeah.
So I guess I try not to be too biased. I'm open to all possibilities, and I guess at the same time, at this stage in my life, now I'm 34, and still find having some way to, I guess, how would I say it? I need some outlet, because I have these questions in me. So it's very important to be able to have these kind of discussions like we're doing now. So
Sure.
Is there anything else you'd like to add?
No.
Nice. Well, I think we can probably wrap it up. What do you say?
Yeah, that's fine.
Awesome. Well, once again, thanks a lot for your time today, Michael.
Yeah, you too.
All right. Well, until next time.
Yeah, have a good time.
Peace
Bye.
out.
Take care.
Bye.